I'm Reverend Dr. Brian Brown. I'm the moderator of the Uniting Church of the Synod of New South Wales and the ACT. Moderator meaning a person who gives general and pastoral leadership to the church at state and territory level. We see it as really important to our role as a church to be advocating for asylum seekers and refugees. They need to be welcomed and not treated as so-called illegal immigrants. They are asylum seekers and they have every right to come here. So we want to get that message across loud and clear. But beyond that, we're a wealthy nation, and so we think we could actually need to go the extra mile and be generous to these people. Many of them have come now with virtually nothing, and they need our help, they need our hospitality, they need our generosity. And the scriptures talk about welcoming the stranger, giving care to people who are at a disadvantage and who are vulnerable. And so we are especially guided by that. It's also very appropriate. Jesus talked about the Good Samaritan, who is someone who across a culture actually reaches out to someone who's in need. And so that is particularly appropriate given that the asylum seekers who come to Australia are usually are always from other cultures. And so we need to be, again, taking special steps to care for them on the basis of our biblical understanding of what it means to care. The church is particularly focused on children in detention, given the vulnerability of the child and our understanding of Jesus' welcoming attitude of saying, "Let the children come to me," in terms of the gospel, saying that it's the vulnerable people like widows and orphans, because of their vulnerability and their sometimes helplessness, need the extra care. We're especially concerned about children in detention, which is something that really doesn't happen in other places, in mandatory detention for long periods of time. And we just don't think that's appropriate at all, and especially in our country. The Give Hope campaign really began when we gained a strong sense from members of the church how deeply they were concerned about the policies of what was then the government and the opposition, who is now the government, and the way they were intending to treat asylum seekers with their new policies. There was such concern that we were sort of inspired to hold a lament service where we were asking questions like, really, what has happened to our nation's soul that we would be treating people in this way? And of course within that is a special concern for children and their vulnerability. But lament is not an end in itself. Lament needs to lead on to hope. And so this then brought about the next step of the process, which is called the Give Hope campaign. It's important for church members to be involved in the Give Hope campaign because this really is where the groundswell of concern and compassion is coming from. They are actually the people who are giving a witness to the wider community that this behaviour towards asylum seekers is not acceptable, and that from a Christian point of view we need to treat people much better than this. The best way for members of the church to actually engage with the Give Hope campaign is to go to the website. On that website they will find lots of helpful information. For example, what are some of the common myths about asylum seekers that are being perpetrated through some of the media and some members of government? They can sign up for a newsletter, which is going to give them updated information on a regular basis. And if they don't have access to the internet, to make sure that their congregational leaders bring this information through to them and provide them with updates so that everybody, irrespective of their ability to connect, can actually be involved and express their concern and their compassion. The Quilt Action is a practical way of involving members of our congregations and agencies and even members of the wider community who might like to express practically and physically their concerns. And so we're sending out patches of quilt to all of our congregations across New South Wales and the ACT. and inviting them to paint representations on those patches of how they see and understand the situation of asylum seekers, but especially of children in detention. Quilts are coming in from right across the state of New South Wales and the ACT and even beyond that. And so as we gather these quilts, we'll now be stitching them together as a sign of our unity of purpose and concern for children in detention. As moderator of this synod, I'm just so proud of the people and the way in which everyone is coming together to express their concern, getting involved in the Give Hope campaign, expressing their concern about children in detention. It's just such a privilege to be in a position of leadership of a church such as this. And I want to say personally a very big thank you to everybody for your concern, your compassion and your practical involvement.